Huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh? 1, 2, 3. For the love of humanity and because you and I are so intimately connected, this is the Union of Muscle Podcast's Daily Inspirationals. I've talked to you about goal setting and about rules, the rules of life, and how there are a lot of rules that we're obeying simply because someone doesn't trust us to make the right decision, or we don't trust ourselves to make the right decision. Now, this isn't to say that all rules are bad, or that we shouldn't be living by any rules whatsoever. I highly disagree. I think we should be setting our own rules, that we should be the ones who are deciding the rules which we want to follow. That had those rules never been suggested to us, we would have come up with them on our own, because we have more to give than what we are doing today. That there's still yet more to accomplish. I've challenged you to set a rule for yourself to plan. Plan your next day at 9 or 9:30, unless you have a good reason not to, right? You still are the author of these rules, but I believe you should be applying these rules because we learn in our life more effective methods of living. This is part of our evolutionary efforts, our humanity. This is part of the love that comes from being human, is to reach beyond where we are now. And this comes through understanding and setting rules for ourselves. Now, some of these rules we've learned in nature that we can lay upon, these rules of physics and energy and matter and the sciences, and we can build upon these. When we understand those rules, we can always build upon them, and they help us understand more rules. So when you become specialized, when you begin to learn a trade or some type of knowledge, there are certain rules that seem to be the case. But remember how we got to those rules. It was a trial and error effort, and it was found that in the majority of the time, X will work if Y happens. And this is what led us down the road of linear goal setting to begin with. We believe that if we start with where we are and we have a goal of where we want to get to, then setting that goal alone and making small efforts to get there will lead us there. Because we have other things in life where we know where we are, we know where we want to get to, and there are clear rules or a clear path that we can follow to get there. These rules can be important to help us achieve more than what we would alone. So, more often than not, if you plan your day, you're going to be more productive, and you're going to build a feeling of self-worth, of confidence. Remember how we talked about how breaking or failing or not complying with these expectations that we have of ourselves can lead us down a road where we want to be ruled by others because we no longer trust ourselves. But we can do small things which we comply with, which will build trust in ourselves, which will help us see that we can accomplish what we set out to do when we set small, easy, and actionable goals that are actions. So losing X amount of weight in X amount of time is an interesting goal, but it's not an action. We need to take these goals and turn them into actions. We have to go to where we are now and say, what small action can I take that'll bring me closer to that goal? So we turn the goal into an action, like watering down your sugary or calorically high beverage. By watering that down more and making those less calories in that drink is going to help you reach your goal. It may be slightly uncomfortable, but it's going to help you. I encourage you to set goals, to set rules for yourself, to make a rule that you will plan every night at X amount of time and allow yourself to get enough sleep. Now, of course, you can break these rules. They're not steadfast. You don't have to lose yourself in them because we don't do linear goal setting. We do nonlinear goal setting, which allows us to factor in many things. It says, for the majority of the time, planning at a certain time of night is going to help me achieve the goals. But if I'm traveling or there's something important that comes up in the way, then I can put it off, or I can rearrange the day. I can change that. We can be dynamic. Goal setters, rule finders, rule keepers. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Union of Muscle podcast, Daily Inspirationals. Remember, the views presented here may or may not be those of Union of Muscle Black Hat Management or our affiliates, and the information you hear here should first be reviewed by the corresponding professional, whether that's medical, legal, or financial, before applying it to your life. All rights are reserved by the content's creator.